In today's noisy world, silence can be both the best thing and the worst thing. Today we will delve deep into this meaning of silence, like a thick veil of understanding where knowledge and power reside. Epictetus, the great Stoic philosopher, once said that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. This profound statement sets the tone for our journey as we explore the mysterious world of silence and its powerful role in Stoicism. In this video, we're not just talking about not speaking. We're talking about how to use silence as a strategic tool, a source of strength, and a way to deep wisdom. Here are 10 transformative traits of the quiet ones that show how silence can become a powerful force in our lives. Stoic silence isn't just the lack of words, it's a deliberate and meaningful expression. Philosophers like Seneca understand the immense value and weight of silence in our communication and life choices. It acts as a mirror reflecting the true depth of our character and intentions. With each revelation, we not only learn how to become quieter individuals, but also better listeners and deeper thinkers. Get ready to uncover the layers of intelligence and power that silence brings. As usual, before we start, I have a small challenge for you. Watch the whole video, and don't skip any of the types of people we talk about below. They each teach us something important about the power and importance of silence in life and human relationships. Leave a comment if you're ready for this challenge. I'm ready to take on the task. So let's make it happen. Number 1. Silence attracts attention. Have you ever thought about why silence isn't just the lack of noise but also a deep source of strength? It's because everything is clearer in a quiet space, letting feelings and thoughts settle and grow freely. Deciding not to speak hastily not only keeps us from saying things before we're ready, but it also creates a mysterious allure that makes others want to know what we're thinking. According to Stoic philosophy, silence has a strong effect that can change how other people see and interact with us. It's a strategic choice that helps us avoid pointless fights and keeps the mind calm and focused. People see silence as a way to control themselves and protect themselves from outside disturbances. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Do the right thing, and the rest doesn't matter." In silence, we find the strength to not react automatically to challenges and provocation. We learn to wait, listen, and then act carefully when needed. Being mindful and living a meaningful life involves silence. Silence isn't just not talking. It also means not letting the noise of modern life overpower the peace that lies within. When we choose to be quiet every day, we not only get noticed, but we also learn to be patient and self-aware. Have you ever believed that silence could change things or how you saw them? The subtle power of silence can help you learn more about yourself and the world around you. At other times, it can be your most powerful weapon. If you stay silent in front of an opponent, you not only keep your strategic secrets secret, but you also create a veil of mystery that makes them question and worry. This puts more pressure on them, forcing them to face their doubts and uncertainties. Let's look at how silence can be used as a strategy to get unexpected benefits in a fight. Number 2. Silence confuses the opponent. Not only is silence golden, it's also a strategy. When we don't react to provocations, our opponents can get confused. This isn't a new trick. Stoic philosophers used it and praised it as a way to keep your mind strong. One of the great Stoic philosophers, Seneca, said that silence is a lesson learned from life's many sufferings. When you choose silence over an argument, you not only stay calm, but you also show silent power. Your opponents won't know what you're thinking, and when they're in self-defense, they often show what they're bad at. Think about the story of David and Goliath. When Goliath yelled challenges, David didn't say anything back. Instead, he focused on his plan, using silence as a mystery veil over what he would do next. Goliath was puzzled by David's silence, which led to his heroic victory. Silence is often a sign of self-control and humility before God, as Jesus showed when he answered Pontius Pilate. Silence. This confused the Pilate and made the witnesses think about the silent power of truth and patience. So we can see that silence isn't just a passive choice. It's an active choice to confuse the opponent's mind and leave them without direction. while we keep ours wise and calm. There are times when silence is the loudest voice. If you agree with our point of view, please leave a message. The most important thing about this movie is the silence. Number 3. Story time. Speech isn't always the best way to get your point across. Sometimes silence makes room for more thought and understanding. People who follow Stoicism think that being quiet is both a way to control yourself and a sign of your inner power. Anthony, a merchant in ancient times, had a lot of power. During a negotiation, while everyone else was passionately expressing their opinions, Anthony chose not to speak. Instead, he listened, observed, and waited. When everyone was done, he calmly presented his decision, which had been carefully thought out and not affected by emotion or pressure. This decision not only helped Marcus, but it also earned Anthony praise for his patience and wisdom. The Great Titus. Many years ago, one of the great Stoic philosophers said, "Let silence be your general rule, or say only what is necessary." This not only shows self-control but also freedom from pride and self-importance, which can lead us astray. Also, the Bible talks a lot about seeking silence before God to listen and understand His will. "Be still and know that I am God." Psalm 46:10. Not only reminds us of how powerful He is, but it also asks us to find peace in our hearts, which is where the truth can be seen most clearly. The story of Anthony and Epictetus' teachings both point to the same truth. In a world where everyone is trying to be heard, sometimes real power lies in quiet moments where understanding and wisdom can grow. Have you ever thought about why people who don't talk much have such deep insights? Is their silence a treasure? There is a treasure trove of knowledge and life experience. What would change about your life if you could learn how to reflect and think about things? Let's look into the art of reflective intelligence, one of the best-kept secrets of those who choose to stay silent. Number 4. The art of reflective wisdom. You control your mind, not what happens in the outside world. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is a quote from Marcus Aurelius that is still important in Stoic thought. Emotional outburst is a deep way to see and judge all parts of life. It's not just a skill, it's an art. People who really understand and use this intelligence are often calm and wise. They don't jump to conclusions or act without thinking. Instead, they take the time to understand the true nature of the problem. This isn't hesitation, but a fine-tuned filtering of information and emotions that leads to decisions that are not only right but also have lasting effects on relationships at work and at home. Reflective intelligence opens the doors to empathy and understanding. People who have it know that every action and word can make a difference, so they carefully and consciously choose every word. This helps them build strong relationships, solve problems more effectively, and promote mutual growth. Once more, the story of Marcus Aurelius shows how powerful reflective mind can be. Marcus Aurelius used his journal to practice reflective intelligence. In it, he wrote about how he dealt with stress and problems as a person and as a ruler. These reflections were not only tips on how to run an empire, but also on how to handle himself and his feelings when things got tough. Marcus Aurelius saw reflective intelligence not only as a way to survive in politics, but also as a way to find peace and tranquility in one's personal life. The lessons from his journal are endlessly inspiring for those who want to rise above instability and conflict through deep reflection and inner control. Moving from reactive communication to reflection is not only a personal step forward, but also a step forward for society as a whole. As we all try to understand and empathize more, the space we share becomes more peaceful and understanding. And in the silence of reflection, we find the strength to not only face, but to overcome every challenge. Number 5. Silence builds strength. Before we get into Lesson 5, let's look at a classic example. One side of a debate continues to talk while the other side stays quiet. The person who stays quiet and keeps a calm demeanor is often seen as smarter. They use silence not only to avoid saying things that might be harmful, but also to get people's attention, even though it's not clear who is right or wrong. Silence is golden is a saying that sounds easy, but has a lot of power to change things. The thoughts and feelings of other people. Silence doesn't mean you agree or consent with what is being said. It's a way to stay true to yourself and sometimes to avoid the long-lasting effects of quickly spoken words. According to a story about a certain company, during a meeting, the director asked if anyone had any thoughts or suggestions. It was a good time for open discussion, so everyone spoke up except for one young man who stayed quiet the whole time. When the director finally noticed, he asked him why he hadn't spoken up like everyone else. He said that he thought it would be best to listen to others and learn from their experiences. The director thought this young man was very impressive, even though he didn't say anything at the time, and later promoted to become the director's personal secretary. In this meeting, some people made very good points. So why did the director choose the quiet young man? The young man wasn't unable to speak because his words already showed how smart and humble he was about learning. He was also smart because he knew how to save energy, and even though he didn't speak as well as others, he still managed to get the boss's attention by stopping talking at just the right time, which was also a smart move. Two things were clear from this young man's silence. Because he was new to the company, he had already said that he needed to learn from others. He also knew how to market himself to his boss, and his humble attitude caught the boss's attention, which led to the chance for a promotion. This young man's story shows that silence can be more powerful than words, that people who know how to keep quiet are also wise, and that speaking up at the right time can be a smart choice. This story shows that silence can be more powerful than words. It not only shows that you can control yourself, but it's also a smart way to build your personal brand and career. When used correctly, and at the right time, silence can really bring strength and make a big difference. Before we move on to the next content, we'd like to thank you for watching this video all the way through. We've talked about silence and inner strength through Stoic philosophy. What's important is your reflection on them. Tell us which idea has stuck with you the most. Don't be in a hurry to answer because that idea might come up in the next part of the video. Keep watching and learning. Number 6. Resilience and adversity. People often forget the power of silence in a world full of constant noise. But for people who are quietly strong, silence isn't just a choice. It's a sign of strength in the face of problems and difficulties. These people know that speaking isn't always necessary to be strong. Sometimes being quiet is the most powerful response to any input. This is how they stay calm and focused. Quiet persistence not only builds endurance, but it also shows deep respect for inner processes and personal growth in the quiet. People learn patience and endurance deep down, which helps them not only deal with problems in the outside world, but also win over problems inside themselves. For lessons from silent perseverance show, there's no need for big actions or heated arguments. You can still show resilience in the choices and actions you make every day. This is very important for keeping relationships healthy and building trust with the people around you. In everyday life, silence isn't the absence of action. It's a choice to keep emotions from taking over reason. Silent persistence helps us find peace and a better understanding of ourselves and the world around us by stopping impulsive reactions and giving the mind time to settle. This makes room for creativity and reflection, which gives us the clarity and purpose to face challenges. Think about how many times in your life you've chosen silence as a way to be patient and in charge instead of letting your feelings get in the way of what you're trying to build. Share your stories and thoughts in the comments using the view of Stoicism. Listening is more than just hearing. It's an art. When we listen, we not only take in words, but we also create a new space where every sound and silence has a deep meaning. Let's look at how silence can help us understand and connect with the world around us, and practice listening with our hearts and minds as well. Number 7. The art of deep listening. Imagine that you are in the middle of a thick forest, where the constant chirping of birds and the rustling of leaves create a symphony of nature. Suddenly, there is a moment of sudden silence that seems to stop all sounds, allowing you to listen deeply. This really shows what it means to dive deeply into something. Stoic philosophy describes silence as a valuable virtue. In today's busy world, Finding and keeping those times of silence is not only difficult, but also a valuable gift that can help everyone understand and connect deeply. When we choose to listen carefully, we not only hear what is being said, but we also feel the weight of the words. This makes room for understanding and respect between people. Silence is not emptiness. It's a sign of deep preparation in which we are free of pride and arrogance, making every word we speak afterward more powerful and important. This skill of deep listening can make a big difference in both personal and professional relationships. Real listening not only helps us understand other people's thoughts and feelings better, but it also builds trust and connection. When we listen with compassion, we show that we care deeply about and value the other person, which can help solve problems and make working together easier. Another useful thing to learn is how to listen carefully from people who can do it. People like this usually keep a humble attitude and are willing to learn. They know that every conversation is a chance to learn, not a battleground for victory. As James 1:19 says, "Be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger." This shows how important it is to listen. It's not just a skill, it's also a way to grow spiritually and morally. Number 8. Eliminate distractions. When we decide to get rid of what isn't necessary, it's like we're creating a new space for our minds where hidden strength can freely manifest. Tranquility not only helps us be more confident in what we say, but also in how we perceive and process the information around us. This peace gives us the confidence to face the outside world with a discerning attitude. Learning to tell the difference between what is important and what isn't is an important part of this process. As a famous IIC philosopher once said, "Not every stimulus deserves our attention." When we learn to filter out what is important, we don't get distracted by details and distractions that don't add value. King David's battle against Goliath in the Bible is a good example of this. David wasn't distracted by how big or strong his enemy was. He was only focused on what he needed to do to beat Goliath with his skill and faith in God. This event not only shows the power of tranquility, but it also shows how David clearly separated what was important, his faith and goal, from what wasn't, Goliath's physical threat. Marcus Aurelius used a method of deep attention that involves focusing your energy on the present and important tasks. When you don't let irrelevant thoughts wander, you can achieve greater clarity and deeper reflection. In the end, making decisions by reflecting on them lets us not only respond to situations but also make choices based on what we know and what we believe in. This gives us freedom, independence, and peace, which is the final goal of Stoic philosophy. With each choice we make, we show not only self-control but also a deep respect for life and the people around us. People often think that pride and arrogance are signs of success, but are they the keys to true happiness? Let's look at a less talked about part of Stoic philosophy: freedom from pride and arrogance. This is not only a lesson in humility, but also a journey of finding inner strength, where silence is both a choice and an expression of power. Distractions make it hard to concentrate and get things done. Stoicism gives us timeless advice on how to stay focused on our goals and get rid of distractions. Here is a guide based on Stoic ideas to help you stay focused and avoid getting sidetracked. Figure out what's important to you. Marcus Aurelius stressed how important it is to know what's important. Start by writing down your top objectives. Put them on paper and keep them close at hand. You'll be able to tell what needs your attention and what doesn't with this much clarity. Being mindful is important. Stoics believed in being aware and in the present moment. Give your full attention to whatever you're doing. When you notice that your mind is wandering, bring it back to the job at hand slowly. Cut down on digital distractions. Today's technology is a big source of stress. You should plan to check your emails and social media at certain times. When you're at work, use apps and tools that limit your screen time or block websites that are likely to drive you crazy. Set up a good environment. The place where you are affects your ability to concentrate a lot. Pick up after yourself and keep your desk clean. To keep your eyes from wandering, get rid of anything that isn't related to the job you're working on. Self-discipline is important. To live a Stoic life, Epictetus said, You must be disciplined with yourself. Make habits and patterns that help you stay focused. For example, give yourself time to work on your most important job without being interrupted at the start of the day. Or protect yourself. You should learn to say no to things that don't fit with your goals. Your time and energy will be safe if you set limits. Tell the people around you when you're working and why they shouldn't bother you during those times. Think and make changes. Every so often, think about what distractions have crept into your life. Write down your thoughts in a book, and then change your plans based on what you find. Being self-aware is important for always getting better. Accept being alone. Take some time to yourself to recover and get clear. Being alone gives you a chance to connect with your inner thoughts and goals without any outside influences. Take this time to really think and make plans. Practice being thankful. Being grateful changes your attention from what you don't have to what you do. This shift in perspective can make distractions that offer short-term pleasure less appealing. Remind yourself often of the good things that will happen if you stay focused. Stay driven by your purpose. Don't forget why you're doing what you're doing. Having a strong sense of purpose can help you stay focused and avoid getting sidetracked. Think about your long-term goals and the bigger picture. By following these Stoic ideas, you can get rid of distractions in a controlled and focused way. Hold on to your goals, practice being mindful, and check in with yourself often to see how things are going. After some time and work, the noise around you will bother you less and you will be more effective. Number 9. Freedom from pride or arrogance. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, wrote, "Let there be freedom from disturbations with respect to the things which come from the external cause." When we get rid of things that aren't necessary, we not only improve our ability to focus, but we also develop autonomy, which is a virtue that is highly valued in Stoicism. This reminds us of Jesus' teachings in the Bible, where he tells his disciples to go into their room, close the door, and pray, Matthew 6:6. In this silence, it's not just about avoiding noise from the outside, but also about finding a deeper connection with faith and personal values in a business world that is always changing. Focusing on the world is key to success, Frank, a successful businessman whose career shows how well he manages his time and concentrates, showed this in a very important meeting. Before the meeting, he told everyone to turn off all electronic devices and made it clear that interruptions were not allowed. This careful planning not only got rid of potential sources of distraction, but also set a serious and professional tone for the meeting. During the meeting, everyone was very focused on the topic at hand, with no ringing phones or distracting messages. This allowed people to give and receive honest feedback, which led to quick and correct decisions about important issues. These decisions not only solved the problems at hand, but also set the stage for the company's long-term growth. Such entrepreneurs, consistency in getting rid of distractions. It not only made work more efficient, but it also showed respect for each person's time and effort, which raised the organization's value overall. Getting rid of distractions is not only a way to make work more efficient, but it's also a spiritual journey where we learn to slow down, enjoy each moment, and connect with ourselves and the world more deeply. Today, we'll talk more about the idea of being free from pride and vanity. Being humble is an important virtue in Stoicism, and knowing how to stay away from pride and arrogance can help you live a happier, more satisfying life. How to understand pride and arrogance. Pride and arrogance are defined as pride is having too much faith in your own skills or worth. Arrogance is a feeling of being better than others that shows up as being bossy or making false claims. Stoic point of view. The Stoics thought that being proud and cocky got in the way of being wise and good. They make it hard to see ourselves and others in a fair and clear way. Why pride and arrogance are bad for you and stop you from learning. When you're cocky, you close off your thought to new information and points of view. It makes us think we know everything, which stops us from growing as people. Relationships get worse. Pride can make people fight and feel cut off from others. It stops real relationships and understanding from happening. Doesn't need to cause pain. When someone is proud, they often have high hopes that don't match reality, which makes them sad when they don't come true. Self-reflection is one of the Stoic ways to develop humility. Think about your deeds and thoughts on a regular basis. Ask yourself if your choices were affected by your pride. Know what your limits are. Know and accept that you can make mistakes. Be honest with yourself about your skills and weaknesses. Accept that you are always learning. Keep an open mind and a willingness to learn. Accept that you might be wrong sometimes and be open to new ideas. Learn to feel empathy. Understand and value other people's points of view. Know that everyone has their own problems and successes. Pay attention to virtue instead of praise. Try to be good because you want to, not because you want praise or attention from other people. Take a break from external validation. Find your own sense of self-worth, not in the praise or views of others. Daily journaling, exercises you can do. You should write about times when you felt proud or cocky. Think about how you could have been more humble in that situation. Some thoughts on death. Thoughtfully consider how short life is. This can help you understand your successes and mistakes better. Practice of gratitude. Say thank you often for the things and people in your life that you value. This makes people more humble and aware of how everything is linked. Some quotes by Marcus Aurelius: accept the things that fate has tied you to, and love the people that fate brings you together with all your heart. If something outside of you is making you feel bad, it's not the thing itself that's hurting you. It's how you think about it, which you can change at any time. When we let go of our pride and arrogance, we can live a life with more knowledge, better relationships, and more happiness. Remember that real power comes from being humble and always trying to get better. Thanks for coming with us on this Stoic light trip. Keep your head down and keep trying to do your best. Number 10. Silence in negotiations. Stoics say that silence helps us focus on what's important and not get sidetracked by fleeting feelings or extraneous speech. One of the greatest Roman emperors and a Stoic philosopher named Marcus Aurelius once said, "You always have the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or trouble your soul about things you can't control." This is especially useful in negotiations, where every word and every silence can affect the outcome. For example, in a business negotiation between two large companies, Company A and Company B, Company A consistently makes demands and puts pressure on Company B to agree to terms quickly, but Company B doesn't rush to respond. Instead, they choose to stay quiet, giving themselves time to think and gather the information they need in meetings. Representatives from Company B listen carefully and take careful notes, but they rarely answer right away. This silence makes things tense, and it also makes the negotiators for Company A start to wonder about the strength and plan of their opponents. They aren't sure of their position anymore, and with each meeting, they start to rethink their original demands. Company B carefully considers their responses and slowly gives them. This helps them avoid pointless arguments and also makes the other side seriously think again. As a result, there is a more balanced agreement that shows deep understanding and care from Company B, which is good for both sides in the long run. From a Stoic point of view, silence in negotiation is not just an absence. It's a time for deep listening and making good decisions. When we take a step back and look at the problem more carefully, we can find answers that are both fair and long-lasting. Silence can be a powerful way to show that you are mature and wise, which brings us closer to what fairness and truth are all about. At the end of today's video, we saw that silence isn't just a sign of restraint, it's also a sign of strength and confidence. Through Stoic philosophy, we learned that silence isn't just the lack of speech. It's also a way to understand the world around us deeply and with honesty. Stay calm and patient on your journey. Leave your thoughts on this subject in the section below. If you found this article useful, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel to get the newest videos on Stoic philosophy and inspiration. Thank you for going on this journey with us. Check out the next videos shown at the end of today's video to keep getting motivated and making your life more important every day. See you in the next videos.